Yo, welcome back to another video. I even checked this out. Hopefully there's no music on here. If there is, we can just tone it out. Just watch the video. Here we go.
Showing you how to do a burst fade slash mohawk, because as you can see, my guy came in looking rough. So we're gonna start off this haircut by doing a trim. So before you always do a trim, you want to dampen the hair, make sure it's easily moldable and easy to section. So when starting off my trim, I like to give myself 3 sections to work with, one on the right, one in the middle, and one on his left. And I use the eyebrow or the middle of the eyebrow as a reference point when creating the width of that middle section. So I did one on the inside of his right and then one on the inside of his left, and that's going to be the width of that middle section. Now after we get that established, we're going to start off by grabbing that middle section, and this will act as our guideline or reference point when trimming the rest. So what I'm going to do is pull all that.
Here we go.
So I'm just cleaning up the ends here, taking off about a 1/4 inch, and we're going to use this middle guideline that we're creating as our guideline for the back as well. But the thing is, with the back, it is a lot skinnier as far as the long hair, since it does transition into a blend in the back, so there's not a lot of hair to trim on the sides.
Here we go.
Do a pompadour or something that has a lot of volume, I'm going to use a channeler. Now after we dry it, what we're going to do is get into the burst fade. So you want to start off by creating our bald line in a circular shape at the end of the eyebrow going towards the back. Now this isn't really a burst fade, it's more of a mohawk because it does go so far back, but it's not a traditional mohawk that gets super skinny towards the top either. So that's why it's like a hybrid between the two. But you want to go ahead and create this guideline and bald out the bottom, and then we'll build the rest of the fade on this bald line. And you want to make sure that this is nice and clean, especially with this type of blend, because you have to maintain that circular point. So I'm coming against it with my clipper, and then my comb, I'm stopping how far I go up. And you can already see little by little this blend is coming together. Now we're going to drop down and fade down with our 1.5 open, and we'll close that lever little by little until we get that dark line completely blended. So I'm just continuing to work with that 1.5, trying to get this blend as clean and as seamless as possible. And you can already see it starting to come together. Soften up that transition into the length on the back and top. We're going to do some thinning shear over comb, and that's going to allow us to maintain that shade of darkness while not raising the fade up any higher than we want it to be. And now we're going to frame out the back in the shape of a V, which I believe suits this haircut a lot better. If this was more of a burst fade where we kept more hair on the back, I think rounded would have suited the haircut better. But since this is more of a mohawk, since it comes all the way to the back, the V accents this haircut very nicely. So as you can see, I started in the bottom and then went to the top. And what we're going to do is match the V on his right side with this left side. And this part can be pretty tricky, so make sure you're combing the hair down every time you line it up to make sure that it's truly symmetrical all the way across. And the blend comes into the V very nicely in the back. And now we're going to get into the lineup in the front. So I'm going to begin this lineup by starting with his hooks first. And because it's going to make it a lot easier to line up the front. So I'm starting at the top of the arch, and then I'll go to the bottom and meet those 2 points in the middle. And that will allow us to get that nice round shape without digging into it too much. And now we're just going to refine it, get rid of any hairs that could potentially be hanging over. And now for this other side, we're going to do the same exact thing. But what you'll notice when you're cutting people's hair is each side of the head is a And now getting into the front lineup, I always like to start in the middle and then dictate which side I want to go to first. In this case, I'm going to move towards his left, trying to keep it as natural as possible, while at the same time getting it as sharp and as crispy as possible, right? Because as you can see, this is a lot of bang action, a lot of overhang. So that isn't a pushback. Those are just hairs that are hanging over the natural hairline. So I want to get those cut off because we want to make the hairline look a lot denser than what it actually is. And now we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing, starting in the middle and then working towards his right corner. And you'll notice as you look, his right corner is a lot lighter than his left. So I'm keeping that in mind, still trying to keep it as natural as I can. And we are going to be keeping this client's hairline natural, so we're not going to be applying any enhancements. So I'm trying to get this as clean as I can. No, in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and look at the link in the description. Press J Clipper Hands Academy, check it out. And if you are...
Man, you didn't even have to do a haircut. Alright, bro got, he did all this. And then just,